Some people never find happiness simply because they're looking for it. I believe that we all have the tools to make ourselves happy within us. Obviously, Maslow hierarchy of needs apply here, right? So if you're living under a bridge, you're not going to be happy. We need things like money, a place to live, your basic necessities. But beyond that, focusing on two things has helped me gain a measurable amount of happiness in the past few months. First thing is having a goal. Now, with my unique background, goals were essentially given to you by someone else. We had what Jehovah's Witnesses would call spiritual goals, which means you would have to reach certain milestones of things you can do in that religion. I've reached a few of them, and it doesn't bring happiness because those goals weren't personal. Now, if you don't have my extreme background, you could still fall into that trap of trying to reach goals set by somebody else, making someone like parents proud, doing it to prove someone else wrong. You might be highly motivated at the beginning, but then once you reach those goals, you'll feel a little hollow. So how on earth do you go about setting good personal goals? It's going to be a little different for everybody, but for me, what I've learned is the best goals are the ones that are separated from any external outcome. You're trying to reach an inner milestone for yourself. So for me, would I like to see the Watchtower organization shut down? Sure, that would be satisfying. Would I like to show all the people who shun and judge me for my decision to leave be proven wrong? Absolutely. I'm sure that would be satisfying. But because those goals are tied to external outcomes, I know that once I've reached it, I'm just going to feel hollow and empty anyway. So a way to contribute to personal happiness is to find goals that are in your sphere of influence. This is taken from the book by Stephen Covey, or Richard Covey or something like that. I don't remember his name, but the book is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But in the sphere of influence that he talks about, there's 2 circles. The first circle is the circle of control, and that is where you live. So this includes your actions, things you think about, the people you hang out with, all that stuff, all the things that you can 100% control. Outside of that, you have the circle of concern. So this can be things like the news, what people are saying on the internet, hell, even your family or friends who you may or may not have disagreements with. A lot of people fall into the trap of focusing on the circle of concern, the outside one. They want certain things to happen, certain things to play out, but they can't do anything about it because it's outside of the circle of control. And what that leads to is just frustration. It leads to stress, anxiety, and a bunch of other stuff you don't want. So for me in my personal life, that was wanting my old friends to accept me for who I was. That's outside of my sphere of control. Or me wishing that the Jehovah's Witness organization, the leadership, would just admit that they're wrong and allow people to be free from this bondage that they hold over people. Again, that's outside of my sphere of control. What's inside my sphere of control? Working on my health, working on my wealth, working on my fitness, which is my health. It's the same thing. Posting content on social media, on YouTube, because these are just me getting my ideas out. That's part of my sphere of control, being consistent with it. I don't control the outcome because that's part of the sphere of concern, but the sphere of control is the part that I can control. I work in sales. I want prospects to say yes and close the deal. Yes, I want to close every deal, of course. Every salesman does. That's in the sphere of concern, not the sphere of control. The part that's in my control is how many dials I choose to make, how many demos I give. That's up to me. So for me, having that shift was a big deal. It took all the stress away from needing certain outcomes to fall a certain way, and it just helped me move on with my life. And the cool part is that the more you focus on that sphere of control, the circle of control gets a little bigger and you can start to influence the circle of concern. But that's not the reason why you're doing it, right? The reason you're doing it is because you want to work on yourself. You want to make sure that circle of control is solid and is good. The next thing that contributes to happiness is being present. Now, for ex-witnesses, this is hard. This was hard for me because your whole life you were told to focus on the future, right? Ignore your present problems and just think about this future distant scenario that may or may not happen. But being present is magical, man. What it is just giving your full attention to what is happening right now without thinking about where I gotta be, what is this person gonna say, and all that stuff. You're just thinking where your own 2 feet are. I'm reading a great book about that right now. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm not through it. I'm only on chapter 3. And yes, if you can't tell, I love to read. I share my thoughts on Instagram stories daily to help me remember what I'm reading. So you can go follow me on Instagram and, I talk about books. And if you're a book nerd as well, we'll have a lot to discuss. But being present. But in that book, it talks about how your subconscious mind is better at accomplishing tasks than your conscious mind. The conscious mind is the one you're using to make logical decisions, the ones you're using to think specific thoughts. If I'm telling you to think about something right now, you're going to use your conscious mind to do it. Your subconscious mind is your automatic reaction to things from years of programming. But the point that book talks about is that you use your conscious mind to call out irrational emotions and to make logical decisions. You shouldn't use it to accomplish tasks. For example, right, I do cold calling all the time at my job. So if I get hung up on 5 times, my emotional side may feel like, you know what, I don't want to pick up the phone again because the 6th business is going to hang up. That is irrational, right? I need to use my conscious mind to call that out and to say, just because these 5 stores hang up on you, why would the 6th one hang up on you? They don't know those other 5 people. It's just happening by chance. That's where the conscious mind is useful. Subconscious mind is just you performing tasks organically. We've all experienced this. For example, if you're talking to somebody who you think is attractive, I'm talking to a girl, the more I think about how attractive she is, and the more I think about, man, what am I going to say next? The conversation gets worse. It gets worse because you're just thinking about it more, and then you overthink, and then that influences the way you act, and now you're just awkward. You're just best to be in a free flow state. Just let it happen organically without overthinking. Or you've been in a job interview, and the more you think about what you're going to say, the more you stutter and stammer, and it just comes out all weird. And you almost want to say, I normally don't sound like this, so don't judge me. But that's happening because your conscious mind is involved. So yeah, you perform best when you're just in the zone, man. Just relax, go with the flow. Let your subconscious mind take over. And yes, your conscious mind is there, but just enjoy the moment. And this moment is never going to be repeated again. So don't think about it, just be in it. So those 2 things that has helped me, being present and having goals. What is your take on that? What helps you be more present in the moment? Or even better, what books are you reading about that? I'm always open to new resources. But hey, I'll catch you guys in the next one.